Start the morning right with a cup of Vinyl Tap. Nothing beats the refreshing taste of a hot, warm mug of Vinyl Tap. Enjoy your podcast in liquid form today. Vinyl Tap. Enjoy responsibly.
Hello, and welcome to Vinyl Tap. This is Habibi.
That is Habibi.
And that's the baby.
On today's episode, we will be discussing So Fresh 2005 Autumn Edition. And
the hits of autumn.
It's the hits of autumn, and yeah, I did want to hit myself at some times during that.
Fair enough.
Thoughts, everybody?
I have a take on this where 25% of the songs are well-known songs by like well-known artists.
Yep.
50% of the songs are semi-known songs by well-known artists, and then the other 25% are just unknown by
Just
unknown.
nobody. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like my take.
That was the biggest takeaway. Like, some of them were just true bangers. Some of them were like, oh yeah, I remember that. And then there was just,
What the hell is this?
like, what is this? This is
What have
music
you
discovery.
God.
Do we want to start with bangers, not bangers?
I think
or
a
ones we
chronological
sort of know?
go through the album is the best way to do this.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think we'll get the most mileage out of that.
Okay. Well, overall, as an album, it's a bit all over the place, even for a compilation.
How do you mean all over the place?
I don't think the song order was very well thought out. Like, there's certain things from certain genres, but they kind of appear sporadically. There's no, we'll start here, take you through this journey to this genre, then that genre.
The start of the album is stacked with hip-hop and R&B.
You get a bit of that at the end, though.
Yes, but that's when most of that appears, and there's no, like, pop or punk at the start of the album until you get to Maroon 5.
Yeah, I guess. I personally just felt it was tonally all over the place.
Well, that was a bit of a takeaway, that I guess it was so diverse in all of its genres and styles.
Well, the thing is that the 2000s are all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
you can't argue
Yeah.
with the album doing that because it was dealing with what it had.
I'm aware of that. I still think the order of songs could have been different and would have made this a better like start to end listen, which is where most people don't listen to these albums like that.
I definitely would have had a better time if, say, Mr. Brightside was earlier on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been able to cope with what was left to come.
Yeah. So my biggest thing is order of songs probably should have been different.
Yeah, look, I don't know how I felt. I think it was kind of a little bit of just an exploration of music of the time, which I guess any compilation is going to be, right? Yeah, I think the thing I was just struck with most is just how much variation there is in everything. I mean, you've got like super groovy hip hop and R&B, and then like power ballads that have been imported directly from the 80s. And having like listening to that in a single sitting experience was distressing, to say the least.
It's shocking, really.
It is a little bit. So we'll do what you said and we'll go through the songs in order. My first few notes on Jennifer Lopez Get Right is that the intro was stupidly long and repetitive.
So long. It's so pointless.
Yeah.
And then my big note for it was, it's the kind of song I feel like people would clap on 1 and 3 for.
Scathing review right there.
That is a scathing review. Wow.
So there's this sax riff all through the song, and the first time I heard it, I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. And then you hear it 1,000 more times, and it stops being cool. It's
I found the squeakiness of it pretty grating.
It was so annoying. Who thought that was a good idea?
I thought it was, it was cool to start off with. I think it was interesting to hear that sax line. It kind of reminded me, I got like Macklemore vibes, right? And I feel like years later they've refined the sax riff so that it's not just so brutally grating. Because it does start off really cool, and it's
there's a point like 2/3 through the song where it just strips back to just the sax riff and I think a drum beat as well. And it just goes on for a while like that. And it's so... like they decided to do that, you know? Someone chose for that to happen.
You pointed out two things I had to say, or one of the two. There are only two big textural and tonal shifts in the song, which was midway through, they had like the piano come in and they kind of smoothed it out a bit. And I don't think the sax was as grating when the piano was there. And then when they stripped it back to just the drum and the sax, which was, in my mind, the
garbage.
two most annoying sounds in the song.
It was garbage. Yeah.
But this is early 2000s, right? So, like... That's the staple, isn't it? Isn't like I feel like
garbage.
Yeah. But I would say that it gives a pretty good cross section of what pop was doing at the time, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I feel like it was a good intro into what we were going to hear.
Yeah.
Cool.
Turn back, lest ye lose all hope.
Song number 2.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
So my first note
This is the worst song on the album.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah.
Like rhyming things like hot potato.
Ripping off that like bop from the 60s.
What, Sugar Sugar?
Sugar.
I don't know. I think like that style of rap is so bad. Like that kind of real gentle, nice guy kind of like, oh yeah, everything. He's just loaded and he loves hanging out with, you know.
Nasty chicks.
The nasty chicks.
Just bad people. I just like bad people, you know.
Well, it's like, it felt like gangster rap evolved into just something terrible. You know, that's the vibe that I got.
This song hurt me. Like, it inflicted pain upon me. Can we institute a skipping rule in Vinyl Tap?
No.
Skipping rule?
Fair enough.
Upset, but no. Because after the first verse and the first chorus, we'd heard all the song had to offer. And then it just went on for like
and it just kept
3 or
going.
4 more cycles.
Okay, we don't have all day.
No, we don't.
Destiny's
Next
Child.
Classic banger.
Love this tune.
Yep.
I'm so down with Destiny's Child.
And it benefits so much from the 2 songs that came before it. Like, in comparison, it's the best song ever.
Well, also the drum sample or machine that they used
so much better.
Was a lot nicer, lower in the mix, wasn't as grating.
Yep.
There's also a lot of just like a lot more rhythmic sort of.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
active,
complexity, but it's just active and energetic.
I also think
it's actually music.
I think it has a high production value as well.
Yeah.
I think they had more samples, nicer samples. They had different textures coming in and out.
Yeah.
And also it helps that, you know, all of the singers have really nice, smooth voices that just soar over the track.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a bit of a common theme here, but songs that still continue to be listened to today all have those as recurring themes. They'll either have, you know, kind of rhythms that are active and energetic and interesting, or they'll have, you know, good vocals, or they'll have like just that higher level of production and kind of don't have that.
Yeah, it stands out from the rest, which means it can stand up over time.
Yeah, rather than that sort of
have
2000s corniness.
So it's got the more timeless sound as opposed to being placed just early 2000s.
The weird, quirky shit that was happening then.
Yeah.
All right.
Such as Over and Over, which just kept on going. I mean, like combining.
I actually kind of did like the song to begin with. Like, I thought it wasn't a terrible song.
Really?
To start out with, and then it just went on, and nothing changed. I thought it was an interesting idea.
What, combining country and rap?
Does this count as the precursor to Old Town Road?
Yes.
But then also,
Yeah.
this is taken the my least favorite aspects of country and of R&B and put them together. It's like
That's
the
probably
slow,
a good
sad
summary
jam of R&B, and then the whininess of country being like, "Oh, my girl's left me."
Yeah, I'm just going to use your summary because that's it. That's it. Combined the worst aspects of R&B and country. That's it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Also, in this song, and a recurring thing across this whole compilation, I found a lot of the drum samples being used just way too high in the mix, which I guess might be an early 2000s thing, but I've never noticed it that intense until we've listened to this.
We'll keep an eye out for it then.
Yeah.
Maroon 5, Sunday Morning, total jam, absolute banger. I adore this song and I always have. And I am so frustrated. It is a total tragedy that Maroon 5 is not still this.
Yeah.
If you ask me. Like,
hey, remember when Maroon 5 is an actual band and not corporate sellouts?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this album was so... I fucking love Songs About Jane. It's one of the best albums of the decade, frankly.
This is one of those ones where I wrote mostly about Songs of Jane and how I liked it, and I feel like it's going to come up on its own time in Vinyl Tap at some point, so we don't need to dwell on it here.
Yeah.
Just know that it's great.
Yeah, it's great. Move on.
Delta Goodrem, Out of the Blue. 80s ballad, but produced in the noughties.
Yep.
Yeah. My very first comment, really? My first comment was, "What is wrong with white people?"
Okay.
Why is there an 80s power ballad in the noughties? Like,
I really liked it.
what? No, it's okay. Look, I will die on this hill. It was so cheesy. Come on,
Of course.
it had every trope. It was
It's a ballad.
Yeah, but there are better ways to do ballads than like mixing sort of like alternative rock and 80s string sections. Like, there are much better ways to do it, surely.
No, I like it. It's a ballad. It's what you expect from a ballad.
Maybe it's because of what had come before it, but it was the first song, well, aside from Sunday Morning, which I know thoroughly. I had never heard this song before. It has actual harmony. It captivated me more than the things that had come before it. Like Destiny's Child, that was a good song, but it's not my thing. So this is the first new thing on the album that actually appealed to me.
I'm the same.
Really? Yeah, no, this was not a fan of this.
It had such
I feel
a
like
nice,
the 80s should
slow
stay
build, and then the typical ballad explosion with the band coming.
I know.
I wish the 80s was still going.
It's so agonizing. I mean, like...
Also, I'm pretty sure it melodically developed the second chorus, which was like something a lot of the other songs didn't do.
It seems
was
more
just
thoroughly written than most of the other songs on this album.
I really liked, just as an overall thing, I really liked the dance tracks that happen and like the kind of the disco tracks that come through the album. And you're going to hear me whine about all of the slow ballads.
Cool. Oh, we'll see when we get to it.
Let's press on.
Next song, Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone. Big old anthem.
Banger.
What needs to be said? It's a classic.
What did I have? I had a question. Do we think this is like slightly a year or two before like the Panic movement, My Chem, Fall Out Boy? Is this like Pop's version of that?
What do you mean?
How far are Panic, My Chem, and Fall Out Boy from being pop, Jason?
Oh, they should 100% be considered pop, but not because pop became that, but because they did their thing and they became popular.
Yes, like pop evolved into what they are. This is the precursor to that, surely. And we'll see the same thing later on with Mr. Brightside. Like that style came out of this fusion of that punky stuff with that poppy fusion. Like, it's kind of an evolution from Alanis Morissette. At least from what I heard. I was just hearing Alanis through both this and the Ashlee Simpson song later on.
Good Charlotte, I Just Want to Live. Yep, good band. Love their aesthetic. Love their sonic sound.
Yeah, I mean, nah. Look, this is, again, unpopular opinion. I don't like Good Charlotte.
I don't like
surprised.
this song.
Yeah,
This song does not get me.
No, I didn't have a lot to write, but this song is
like
not fun, is my summary.
I get you.
for you, Beebs.
Yeah.
I'm assuming because of all the punk stuff you're in, you're just like, it's not there for you.
Washed out isn't the right word, but you know, it diluted, I guess.
Yeah.
But Good Charlotte, it's a classic group. Moving on, Disco is not dead. I still think this is a classic tune.
Is this the kind of song that if you went out and about in the early noughties that you'd hear at a club, you'd get down
I
to?
hope so. And it's just the kind of song that if I go out to a club now, I hope I hear. Like,
Yeah. It's good for a club, and I don't think much else. Like, I wouldn't listen to this, you know, I wouldn't listen to this while reading, you know. It's not a reading song. It's not a bathing song. It's a club song. You get down to it, you know. You don't scrub up to it. Because it doesn't evolve, it doesn't go anywhere. It just is what it is.
It stays the same, yeah.
It's a nothing song, but it's a good nothing.
See, no, again, I would absolutely scrub
disco,
up to
isn't
this
it?
song. I mean, scrubbing up is I mean, of course, disco lights up the inner fire. You know, you scrub yourself and you're like, yeah, just jam it out. Hit me with those classic beats.
Yeah, God. Next song. Same question.
I loved this.
I don't know. I thought the transition was pretty awkward into the breakdown.
It was. I loved it.
What, with
I'm not a fan.
the introduction of high pass filter.
That was really weird. I liked it. It just got me. I thought it was cute. How silly the things that were happening were.
It just sounded or sounds like, I guess, like the disco stuff that we have today. It's like that in its infancy stage is the overwhelming feeling I got from these two songs. Yeah. I mean, I think they've been developing for a lot longer, but yeah.
I just thought of them as stuff you'd hear at a club and not my cup of tea.
I didn't go to many clubs in 2005, so it being 9, I just don't know what was going on at the time. So maybe they were playing Bach. Like, who knows? Deep Dish Flashdance.
I hated the riff. FFEFA. And just endless.
It did go on forever.
Has it been sampled since? Like,
I think it was sampling something, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was sampling something or...
I'd have to look into it.
It sounded like I recognized it, but not from that song.
I'm the same, which is why I assumed this one was sampling something else.
It took a long time to get anywhere and then went straight back to nowhere. So that was great.
Yeah, it felt like it was leading to something.
Also, the timing of one of the samples was just horrendous. I hated it.
So, not a fan of this one?
Not a fan of this one.
Oh well, it's a compilation. We can move on to Tammin.
Does anybody... Okay, who is Tammin? Yeah,
Prototype T-Swizzle.
She was Australian.
Right.
I know she was. But
yeah.
The country pop sound made me think...
To me, it felt like she was trying to imitate Avril Lavigne.
Really?
Yeah.
But it was country.
Really?
Avril Lavigne's not really country.
Look, there are some elements of her music that are that kind of... I'm thinking of like the stripped back section of Complicated. I think that's what Tammin is. Or at least what this song was. It just made me think that.
No, I heard early T-Swizzle, but like a little bit heavier.
I just zoned out, to be honest. It was unremarkable.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, any fans
of Tammin.
Yeah, of Tammin.
Yeah.
My other question, or there will be fans, because my other question was, is it Disney Channel does country music?
It did have, even like the music video, which I know we said we weren't going to talk about music videos, but this did have that like flat, saturated Disney Channel look to it. It looked like they'd made this as a trailer for a Disney Channel show.
So she was also an actress in Home and Away.
I didn't know that.
And in Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah.
Really?
So it kind of makes sense.
And it all started here with an unremarkable song.
Now for something completely different.
Oh, yeah. The most out of place song on the album.
Yeah.
But also one of my favorites.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Jason. uh, Tim, are you there as well?
Oh no, I like his voice. Moving on.
I just like, okay, the reason I didn't like it is that it's too epic. You've taken your power ballad too far.
Yeah, it takes itself way too seriously as well. And then doesn't it pop? It pops into Italian halfway through for no reason.
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
I really like this song. I just think it's out of place on the album. Contextually, it's weird.
But what is it about the song that you like?
The slow build, the very slow change in texture and dynamic, and then that big explosion. I think in another place, it could be this really big epic end to an album. But just putting it in amongst all these pop songs makes it feel really jarring.
I like that it has actual instruments.
Yeah.
And that, that doesn't really mean anything. It's just sounds that I haven't been hearing. I haven't been hearing those sounds throughout the rest of this album, and it was nice to hear something else. And he has a good voice.
Why do you hate it so much, babes?
Look, just that it takes itself seriously. It's just so, slow and reflective to the point of nausea. And
kind of masturbatory, yeah.
It kind of just builds and builds, and then it's not just as epic as you think it might be. It takes it the next step up, and it just boom, and then it stays there, and he's so oh, and oh god, please no, we left that stuff behind. We moved on musically. Why did you don't bring it back? Don't introduce Pavarotti here. This is cultural sacrilege.
JoJo, Bow Wow.
Oh man,
Baby It's Yours.
Oh man, banger.
I wasn't that big a fan. It had a catchy hook.
I hated it.
Oh. And it was just obsessed with the percussion, which was way too high in the mix, in my opinion.
While I was listening to this, I was thinking, I was feeling really sorry for Rebecca Black, who 6 years later released her song Friday onto YouTube and was just destroyed by everyone. But then I looked into the comments and the likes of this video, this Baby It's You by JoJo, and fantastic reaction. This song is worse than Friday, and I feel so sorry for Rebecca Black that this happened to her and not Joe. This is fucking terrible.
Yeah, again, I was sort of not really moved by it, but I don't think it was terrible. Especially on this compilation, it reminded me very much of Destiny's Child, which we sort of, just listened to. It was just a less complex version of it. The percussion in the background was just very simple and boring, and the chord hits were just simple. It kind of had it was as if it was trying to get that same kind of R&B drive, but it didn't have it.
It was really tame, and I wrote down that it was harmless garbage. It's not good, but it's not hurting anyone. It really did not captivate me at all. It was just wasted time. I want my time back.
Natasha Bedingfield, Unwritten.
The chord progression and the melody in the verse basically defines my musical life. That for me is early 2000s, the shit I digged. Just going to get it right out there.
So I hadn't heard this before. I reckon it was the second or third song that I liked that I hadn't heard.
I like this. I hadn't heard it either. Yeah, it's good.
The only thing I didn't like was the guitar tone for the ostinato or the riff. Other than that, I really liked the way that it very smoothly texturally changed between the verse to the chorus and then back to the verse, kind of increasing and then decreasing. It was very natural feeling. And then also the vocal rhythm had a nice contrast between the chorus, which was more dense, and the verse, which was a bit more sparse.
It was probably the most harmonically interesting thing on the album. Maybe the prayer has a bit more going on harmonically, but it's not as enjoyable. It's not as energetic. It's not as fun. This song has a gospel choir in it.
It's kind of cool. I would say that this is probably my favorite song on the compilation. It's just a bit of a banger.
Guy Sebastian, Kryptonite.
Yep.
I didn't know that this song existed. I thought I did, but I've never heard it.
You thought you knew it existed, but you didn't.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, this sounds like something I've heard from, like, because, you know, we've all heard Guy Sebastian stuff.
Yeah.
I don't recognize this at all.
I really enjoyed how you could hear how young he was vocally in this.
Yeah.
Hearing that compared to something he's released in the past few years, you can hear how young he is back then.
Yeah, absolutely. He's young. I was not
Bit
a
of a
fan
babe.
of the weird random 2000s noises that were going on in the background. That was like,
No.
why do we do that? Stop.
Well, this is the 2000s, isn't it? It's just a lot of questions.
Again, this one fits the drums being too high in the mix for me, and just kind of drowning out a lot of things because it was so consistent with the percussion. There wasn't a lot of textural or tonal change across any of the sections.
I mean, you've mentioned that exact comment on basically every song that I think at this point, those are features from the 2000s rather than problems. Like,
There's a
It's not a
reason I don't like 2000s pop that much.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've made it clear.
Well, it's
So
good
if
to
you-
put a name to those reasons.
yeah, so if you want your drums too high in the mix, you've got a, you know, good span of music to go to.
Yeah. So we move on to Casey Donovan. Listen with Your Heart, the Disney banger.
Good old Disney key change.
It's a Disney song through and through.
I didn't have a lot to say about it. It was on there on the list of unmemorable songs.
It was too cliche for my liking.
It didn't hurt me. That's
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
safe.
There's some cool harmonic departures going on in there, but I'm not going to listen to it again, am I?
Ashlee Simpson, Shadow.
Did you like this?
I was neither here nor there. It was on the album, didn't dislike it, but I wasn't like in love with it.
I was kind of disappointed because I saw potential in there for something that I really could have liked, but it didn't really live up to it. But, you know, that's most songs, isn't it?
This is one of the sort of few songs where the string sections that they used in there actually worked for it compared to the rest of the compilation. Like, there's a lot of strings that were just put in there. I don't know why. It was just a feature of most of these songs. And they were just not great. I don't know. For this song, it sort of worked for it quite well. It's maybe something that, you know, you chuck on like a big party playlist, but you wouldn't pick it out to listen to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was upbeat enough for me to want it at a party. Maybe like sit down dinner.
I'm not eating to this song. I'm not scrubbing to this song. I'm not reading to this song. I don't know what I would do to this song. I might get down. Probably not. I thought that the band didn't really match her voice at all, like in terms of intensity. Like if you like it, that's what I'm saying. It could have been a belter. It could have been a really powerful song, but it wasn't because the instrumentation did not match the intensity of Ashlee's voice, and I thought that was a big shame.
Next one.
Shall we move on to the best song?
Is it the best song?
So, Mr. Brightside. Look, I love it. It's fucking amazing.
I don't know if we need to talk about this. Everyone knows it. It's great.
It's a classic tune.
It's
Past the test of time.
Yep. It is timeless. Like, people love this song more than they love music of today.
Yep.
People get like, this song comes on and all the white girls scream. Like, it's mental. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, what makes Mr. Brightside and a few of the other songs timeless, and what has made the majority of this album sort of get forgotten in popular music?
I think production value is a big
the
thing.
fact that there's real instruments in some, and then the rest is this kind of like experimentation.
Interesting point.
That's a hard thing to answer. I feel like it's more of a case by case thing. What works for one song isn't going to work for another, and you're not going to find a blanket answer of why this song's timeless that works for all.
Shall we move on to some men who should just have given up by now?
So, 2 questions. Was this their last big hit? And second question, had the mantle already been passed to Coldplay at this point in time?
I would think that maybe a year before this is when Coldplay really became the band that U2 once was. Maybe around then. It might have been a little earlier, but I'm pretty sure it was like 2004. But yeah, by now U2, like, just, you've had an amazing career. Let it end.
Let it end.
No, they didn't let it end
They
until they forced their album on people's iPhones.
Ugh.
Wait, what?
Still can't. Yeah, didn't you know that it was installed on every iPhone?
People woke up one day and had a YouTube album on their iPhone.
Thanks. Now I'm stuck with this.
Really? When did that happen?
2013-ish.
I thought it was before that. Oh,
maybe
no,
earlier. Yeah.
No, it's silly.
That's kind of low key the most amazing thing I've ever heard. Like, what a way to just, you know, that's a way to get your music out to people. You just, without their consent, force it onto their phone, and now they have it.
Slipping a CD into someone's pocket, like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like, but I mean, it's not even into their pocket. I mean, like, a phone is like your personal possession. It's like you open your fridge and there it is, YouTube.
And Bono's just sitting in the crisper.
Yeah, like, you go to bed and you snuggle up to Bono. Anyway.
This song, it's kind of catchy. It's not one of their biggest hits. It's not one of their worst songs.
It sort of just felt like U2.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. At the start, he says uno, dos, tres, catorce, and I'm not sure why he skips 4 through 13, but he goes straight to 14. So that's strange.
Also, they answer themselves in Spanish a lot. Hello, hello, hello. Hola.
Why?
Who knows?
So this was an album.
Yeah. Any summary thoughts, final thoughts about it as an album?
I wonder what I would have thought of this in 2005. I know that me at the time, like when I was actually that young, I didn't like it.
So at the time, I thought So Fresh was the best idea ever because it was putting like big songs together and you could just listen to the songs you wanted, you know, before Spotify playlists and where you can pick and choose. And this was like the closest thing you could do. I still think it's a really cool idea, but I'm kind of surprised it's still going.
Given the current.
Given streaming.
Yeah. I mean, it's just grabbed a whole bunch of genres, right? So you can't go wrong with it. You're going to find something.
There's something for everyone.
There is something for everyone. Like, we've all found songs that we still like in this. And I'm sure if you were to be listening to it back in 2005, you know, you'd have a few off songs. Maybe they're smaller artists or something like that. But, you know, overall, you'd probably like most of the tracks.